sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution. Yeah, we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's getting cleaned out real well. Pace cars off, kick some ass.
There's the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. Nice and solid. Good case stuff.
Three wide.
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble.
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
And hello, race fans, and welcome back to the Darlington Raceway, where tonight it is your main event of all the festivities here for the Darlington weekend. It is our 18th race of the season, the Southern 500. And my, oh my, we have had ourselves a fantastic weekend of racing here at the track. Too tough to tame. Of course, the truck race here back on Thursday was not the greatest in the world, but definitely not the worst at all. And then we had the Xfinity race last night, where obviously Sarah Taylor won the truck race, by the way. But as far as the Xfinity Series race last night, oh my goodness gracious, that was a banger of a race. And that saw Campbell Marsh, after basically cycling back to 15th after the final round of green flag pit stops, picking off the field one by one until he caught up to race leader Sam Robinson, who was chasing his first career Xfinity Series win, took it away from him with 2 to go, and Campbell Marsh, wielding a Kyle Busch NOS Energy themed paint scheme, to victory lane for the second time this season. And it was definitely an emotional win, not just for motorsports altogether, but also for Wyatt Walker, who is the owner of Walker Family Motorsports and one of the NOS Energy Cup Series contenders that is competing here tonight. He was up in the booth with me on his birthday, no less, calling the race, and we got to watch that number 18 literally just drive his way through the field and take the checkered flag last night. But here we are for Cup racing here at the Darlington Raceway. In case if you missed the action last week at Kansas, that race was also pretty solid, but that saw Aaron Abel nab his second win of the season. And if I'm not mistaken, both of the Racing Family Motorsports cars are the only 2 drivers from a single team to have more than 1 win. So that is actually very impressive if that is the case. But man, with 6 races to go and then 5 after tonight, things are definitely going to get pretty interesting when it comes to the championship fight. And that's actually a pretty good segue into our point standings, because there are several contenders that wound up getting some good point stays, others not so much. We can tell you that Eric Monaco still holds on to that points lead over Avery Alford. Andrew Miller is in second, Blaze third, Terry Walker fourth, Aaron Abel jumps up to 7th after that win at Kansas, and CG Holt lost a couple spots but still hanging on inside of the top 10. We turn the page here to 11th through 20th. Bobby McGuire falls to 13th. Stephen Walker falls outside of the top 10. Claire Phillips, after finishing in 3rd, jumps up to 18th in the point standings. Mercedes Davis was 13th. She slipped down to 19th. Let's go over to the next page here, and you notice that the only NS Racing car that has been doing well is Andrew Miller. Take a look at the rest of the stable here. 24th, 27th, and 30th in the point standings. Definitely not a great standout for NS Racing. Wyatt Walker, on the other hand, who celebrated his birthday yesterday, he moved up a couple positions after a great finish at Kansas. Definitely a good momentum booster, if I may say. But you take a look at the rest of your results here. Kyle Craven, who had a really good running at the early stages of last week's race at Kansas. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to keep that momentum up and that's what relegated him down to 32nd in the point standings. But I thought I had a fly in the booth with me, but turns out it's just a bag. That's just a bag, but I hope it's just that. But regardless of that, you know, the championship picture is getting pretty interesting, if I may say. But we're in for a treat. We are in for a treat for sure at here at the Darlington Raceway. And speaking of, we had some qualifying earlier today, and our runner-up in the point standings has the pole position, and alongside him is Nathan Stapleton, who is inside the top 30 in the point standings. This is a starting spot that he needs. You have Avery Alford, last week's winner, starting in the 5th position. Andrew Ramsey in the 6th spot. And then you have Russell Blaze and Zachary Taylor completing your top 10 here. Scroll on over to the next page here from 11th on down to 20th. There's going to be several contenders that are actually in need of some good points that are actually starting up front here. For example, the Walkers, Wyatt Walker, he is 26th in points, but he would definitely love to score a win. Stephen Walker just outside of the top 10 in the point standings, but still having a really good starting spot nonetheless. Ray Atikian, who competed in last night's Xfinity race, he currently starts in the 13th position. There is CG Halt and Bobby McGuire. They line up in the 13th row. You also have Noah Clifton up there as well. Liam Davis, who competed in the truck race last Thursday, and Claire Phillips. I kind of feel a little bit bad for her because she finished 3rd last weekend at Kansas. Unfortunately, did not fare all that well during qualifying. She starts in 30th as you take a look at the rest of your results. And the Anderson sisters, for the 2nd race in a row, unfortunately, they did not get a good qualifying effort. They start 36th and 37th, respectfully. And then you got your provisional starters, what looks to be of Roberto Crown Jr., and as well as the 13 of Mercedes Davis. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is officially go time from here at the Darlington Raceway. There is a couple things that we're going to make sure of before we get this race going, and just to be on the safe side, we're going to make sure that the ticker is up and running, and it looks like that's the case. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, but we do want to say hello to you guys. Jason Awesome, we got Phoenix in here, we got Panda, we got Uwu, Mama Dino's in here, Virgil, and you know, I gotta say, for those that are watching WRLA action for the first time ever, welcome on in, and we hope that you enjoy some fantastic NOS Energy Cup Series racing from here at the Darlington Raceway. And remember, folks, after tonight, the championship picture gets a little bit more interesting. We'll have 5 races to go after Darlington. 184 laps of action in tonight's main event for the Darlington weekend. And we have Avery Alford, who is runner-up in the points, starting on pole. And this is going to be very interesting, if I may say. I don't even know what else to add on to that, except for this. The drivers, they're strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies, they're just now wrapping up. But in order to get these 42 behemoths rolling on the racetrack, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is, folks. Engines are fired, pace car is rolling off, and so are these 42 contenders. You know, we had ourselves a fantastic weekend thus far, and we're getting ready to cap it off with some good old NOS Energy Cup Series racing from here at Darlington. Last year, it was Rogel Dorn that went to victory lane in pretty easy fashion. Last year, that was to nab his first NOS Energy Cup Series victory, but he does start a little bit deeper in the field, so it'll be interesting if he's going to be able to defend his Southern 500 victory, but this is definitely going to be kind of interesting. Wow, this is also kind of convenient. That's convenient. You definitely saw a frozen screen there, but regardless of that, the pace car is off. Avery Alford and Nathan Stapleton lead him to green. It's time for the main event. World Cup racing here in Darlington. Alford with a great jump on the start. He gets clear of all comers, but you got Ryan Davis immediately on the offense. Down to the inside he goes. He'll lead the first lap. He'll pick up that first bonus point. And already down to the inside, he's going to try to take over that top spot, and he'll do it pretty easily. New race leader, it's Ryan Davis in the 77 as they come off turn 2. Last week's winner, Avery Alford, already trying to pick up where he left off. He moves up into the 4th position. Quentin Moore moves up high, and that opens up the door for Russell Blaze in the 29 to drive to the inside. In his tire tracks behind him is Wyatt Walker, who celebrated his birthday yesterday, and he would definitely love to go to victory lane here for the Walker Family Motorsports sweep. Another thing that we didn't really point out, and that I didn't notice until just now, is that Toyota has been absolutely dominant here in Darlington. Sarah Taylor went to victory lane in the truck race last Thursday. Last night it was Campbell Marsh that won for Toyota, so they are 2-4-2, and Wyatt Walker definitely looking to try to complete the Toyota sweep here at the Darlington Raceway. We got a long way to go before we can actually say something about Toyota being a champion, being a winning, contending manufacturer here for this race win. Coming around to complete 4 of the scheduled 184 laps here tonight. Alford and Abel. Both of these drivers, they're definitely familiar with racing against one another. They wound up competing for a victory at Chicagoland. That was Avery Alford's. Well, that was actually Aaron Abel's first win. And Alford actually did come pretty close that day, all the way back at the beginning of June. But nonetheless, Abel retains for that 2nd position. Now he's going to try to set his sights on Ryan Davis, heading down into turn number 1. Alford sits pretty comfortably in 3rd. Nathan Stapleton in 4th. And then completing your top 5, that is Russell Blaze in the Chevrolet colors, the Chevy City colors. You can definitely imagine the radio communications that he has with his own team. He's probably saying, I'm going to put down the hammer in the early stages of this event. So far, 6 laps complete. Riding in that 5th position, as we just mentioned, that's not Nathan Stapleton, excuse me. That's actually Andrew Ramsey in the 67. So far running in the 6th position. Wyatt Walker, after starting in 11th, he's moved up into the 7th position and riding pretty comfortably here as of right now. Here's Andrew Miller down to the inside. This is to take over that 8th position from Alex San Vitale, who runs 9th, and Quentin Moore in the 04 rounds out your top 10. With 7 laps complete in the Southern 500 here at Darlington. Up front, challenge for 3rd was on. Stapleton tried to take it away. It looks like he's going to do it again here. This time, I think he might be a little bit more successful as he goes down to the inside of Avery Alford, manages to get that spot across the stripe, and up front, challenge for the lead is on. Here comes Aaron Abel to the inside of Ryan Davis for the lead. But Davis is going to get back on the gas before Aaron Abel is able to. A little bit of a pun there, if you will. But Davis is going to be able to hold on to that race lead by at least almost a quarter of a second on Aaron Abel in this 43. Abel looking to try to get his 3rd win of the season. and try to go back-to-back here in the NOS Energy Cup Series. Stapleton now runs third, and I think he's going to try to go for second. And meanwhile, behind them, here comes Andrew Ramsey underneath of Russell Blaze. That's to try to take that 5th spot away. He got it across the stripe, but it looks like, Ramsey, I think he might get it here, as Miller is also trying to go after Wyatt Walker for the 7th position. He had it there going through the corners, but Walker gets a good run on corner exit. But this is where Miller, and this is where that inside line is going to work absolutely the best, as he got 2 birds with 1 stone, Andrew Miller did in that 96, getting by Wyatt Walker and Russell Blaze. Meanwhile, Nathan Stapleton is going to take over that 2nd position from Aaron Abel in that 43. Now he moves up into that runner-up spot and will set his sights on Ryan Davis for the lead. Andrew Miller in that 96 already immediately back on the offense as he goes to the inside of Andrew Ramsey. It's the Andrew and Andrew show. And ironically enough, both of them are red and white cars, if anything. That's definitely pretty interesting, if I may say. But Ramsey with a great run off of turn 2. He'll retain that 4th spot, and Miller's going to tuck in front of the 23 of Avery Alford. Wyatt Walker now finding a little bit of momentum on the inside line as he moves up back up into the 6th position. How much you willing to bet that Wyatt Walker's favorite wrestler is Rey Mysterio, because car 19 was in position number 6, so a little bit of boyaka action there, if you know what I mean. But looks like Miller's going to retain 5th, and Wyatt Walker will slot back in that 6th position. Meanwhile, take a look further in the back. How about this? Kyle Craven in that 28 machine, already starting to make some strides here and knocking on the door of the top 10 as he's to the inside of Skylar Taylor in the 41. And looks like we'll edge ahead and we'll clear Skylar Taylor for that 10th position. Kyle Craven looking to try to get his first win since Phoenix of last year. And that 2nd win that he got last season was what ultimately gave him a really good opening to the NOS Energy Cup Series Championship last year. This season has just been an absolute miserable one for Kyle Craven. And Craven would definitely love to at least end off this season with 1 win. Just at least 1 win this year. I think that's all it would take to restore the confidence of Kyle Craven, because we know he's going down to the Xfinity Series next year, and Eric Blaze will be taking over this car in the 2027 season. So, I mean, I'm definitely eager to see what Craven will be able to accomplish in the Xfinity Series, but I'm also curious to see how these final 6 races are going to play out for Kyle Craven, because this year has not been a good year for the 28 team, especially for Kyle Craven. I kind of said the same thing about 20 different times, but you kind of get the gist of it. Meanwhile, Andrew Ramsey peeking to the inside of Aaron Abel. This is for the 3rd position, but Abel's going to retain that. And already back down to the inside. Or at least he's going to try it, maybe. Yeah, I don't think he's close enough yet, but he probably is going to do it down the front straightaway. He's going to peek the nose down low on Aaron Abel. Well, up front, looks like Nathan Stapleton probably might be sizing up Ryan Davis for a potential challenge for this race lead. Into turn 3, he's going to drive it down to the inside, and here comes Nathan Stapleton in the 97 underneath of Ryan Davis, and new race leader at the stripe. It's Nathan Stapleton in the 97. Ryan Davis tried to answer back, but Stapleton is going to clear Ryan Davis for that top spot. And this 97 is looking strong within these first 20 laps of action. Remember, Stapleton started outside pole. He fell back a little bit. Still hung around inside of the top 10. And now you got Ryan Davis trying to take that race lead right back. But now you have Aaron Abel covering the outside. And that's what's probably going to give Abel an opportunity to try to challenge for that runner-up spot. And he will, as he beats Ryan Davis back to the throttle off of turn number 2. And that gives him such great momentum heading down the back straightaway and into the third corner. Absolutely spectacular racing. Very similar to what we saw last night in the Xfinity Series race. And now here we go between the Death Rider racing cars of Craven and Blaze. Looks like Blaze is going to get the run off of turn number 2. He'll retain that 9th position. And Craven will slot back in behind his boss and former contender, former rival, if I may say. And Blaze's old ride takes it downstairs on Wyatt Walker. He'll take over that 6th position. Now trying to go for 5th on Andrew Miller as they head down into turn 1. It looks like, I thought Sam Vitale was going to have it coming out of turn 2, but obviously Miller pretty much using the same technique as what everybody else had been doing whenever they're pinned up against the wall on the outside. And that's just absolutely hammered down on that throttle. And there goes Avery Alford getting around Wyatt Walker on the inside, heading through turns 3 and 4. But I think Walker is going to have an opportunity if Alex San Vitale manages to get by on the outside. Well, I think Walker had to lift a little bit. And that's what's probably going to open up the door for Avery Alford to slot in front of Wyatt Walker. Let's take a look further in the back of the field. How about Zachary Taylor in the 85? Another fantastic run for him. He managed to move himself into the top 30 in the point standings after last week's performance. So far, running pretty good, up into the 14th position. Almost challenged for 13th on Quentin Moore, but he did not have a good run at all on the inside. And that may open up the door for Travis Crampton in the 61. You also got Michael DeFeo in the 60 there, running inside of the top 15, or top 20 rather, having himself a nice run in the early goings of this race. And how about this? There is Abby Walker in the 16, having a pretty good night tonight, as she is up in the 19th position, trying to take it away from Tanner Parton coming out of turn number 2. Meanwhile, let's look back up at the front of the field. Aaron Abel looks like tried to get around Nathan Stapleton for the race lead, but had lost at least about 4/10 there. Fight for third is on between Davis and Ramsey. Heading back into turn 1. I do believe Ramsey might be able to get the drive off. He's got the opportunity to clear up, but he leaves that hole wide open for Ryan Davis. Try to come back up around the outside, heading back into turn number 3. And you got Andrew Miller waiting in the wings in case if anything happens, and looks like he's going to take advantage of that 77 running the middle line. And here comes Andrew Miller to try to take over that 4th spot, but Ryan Davis had a great run off of turn number 2, but it will be not Ramsey, but Miller. Andrew Miller in the 96, trying to make something happen, but that outside line just so strong off of turn number 2. Miller looks like he's going to try it again this time. Looks like this tire wear really starting to come into effect in this later stage of this first green flag stint. And I would have to expect these drivers to come on down pit lane right around lap 34, lap 36, if anything. It looks like Miller's gonna stick around in that 5th position, but man, as soon as I say that, Andrew Miller, he is not giving up. He's got that Nick A30 attitude in him. Never back down, never give up. And Andrew Miller is doing everything he can to try to take that 4th spot away, and he's got it on the 77 of Ryan Davis as they come out of turn number 2. Meanwhile, a fight for second is breaking out between Aaron Abel and Andrew Ramsey. And Nathan Stapleton, who currently holds the fastest lap of the race, right now sitting at a 27.83, is loving everything that he sees in his rear view mirror. A lot of double file action behind him, and that's what's allowing Stapleton to check out to at least about a 4/10 of a second advantage. Now a third of a second as Aaron Abel breaks free from the clutches of Andrew Ramsey. 31 laps complete. In the Southern 500 here at the Darlington Raceway, it is Nathan Stapleton in the 97 who leads the charge. Remember, he started outside pole here in this event and had been running at this part of the field pretty much at the front all night long thus far. And now at this concurrent moment, he is leading the way here in the Southern 500. Look at this. Skylar Taylor taking it downstairs on the 19 of Wyatt Walker. This is for the 9th position. Russell Blaze just ahead in the 29. But I think Wyatt might have an opportunity to gas it around the outside of Taylor, and he does. So Walker retains that 9th position, and Skylar Taylor's going to have to sit there in the 10th position as they head through turn number 4. Meanwhile, Quentin Moore to the inside of Zachary Taylor. That would be for, I want to say that's the 12th position, now to the inside of Skep Silver in that 57. And he back down into turn 1. But so far, lots of double file action that we're seeing at the Darlington Raceway in the Southern 500. So happy that you could be here with us for this fantastic race, this banger of an event that we're seeing so far. Here comes Skylar Taylor to the inside of Wyatt Walker. That is for the 9th position, and Taylor's going to have it coming off of turn number 4. But look at Walker, that 19, carrying that momentum all the way down the front straightaway. But it looks like Taylor's going to have the drive into the corner, and he will clear, or they will clear. Walker are not so fast. They're still dead even down the back straightaway. Man, that duo of Toyotas are absolutely cooking here as Nathan Stapleton coming to pit road. Green flag pit stops are getting started here in the Southern 500. So far, Nathan Stapleton, I believe, was the only one that pitted. But he is the first out of all these contenders to pit. Avery Alford looks like he's going to surrender the lead. Ramsey stays out, as does Quentin Moore. Moore comes on in. And here comes Parton, Stephen Walker. I see Jerry Rose coming on in along with Bobby McGuire, CG Holt, and as well as the 7 of Janiah Hill. So Ramsey now inherits the lead, but I'm wondering how many more cars are going to just make that move into the pits. Ramsey, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Ramsey comes on in, and as will most of the crowd. The only other drivers that stayed out were DeFeo. I do believe Avery Alford stayed out. So did Kyle Craven. DeFeo, Dorn, Terry Walker, as well as Val Moscow, Trinity Anderson. So these are the final few cars. Ryan Godillo amongst them as well. So this is the final group of cars that is yet to come on down to pit road, and it looks like that is going to be the case. Alford surrenders the lead, and he will pit along with Craven, DeFeo, Dorn, Walker, Gondillo, Moscow, and Trinity Anderson. So, as these drivers get their service done on their race machines, Avery Alford now pits in. As Bonsignor, Fitzy, and Sebastian Vaughn, they just exited pit lane. They're heading back out on the track. Kyle Craven getting his service completed. and as are several other contenders as well. Look at Tanner Parton just rocketing around the 96 of Andrew Miller. I would have to believe that was for the 5th position. So this top 10 is going to be looking pretty interesting here as we complete our first round of green flag pit stops. And before we officially go through our top 10, we're going to reset the ticker at least one time just to make sure and make certain that everybody is exactly where they should be. Probably have to do it one more time just to make sure that Nathan Stapleton was the one that cycled back out to the lead. If not, we'll definitely have to figure out exactly. We'll definitely have to refresh the ticker. We're going to do that one more time. 40 laps complete. And if this is the case, I do believe your top 10 is looking a little bit different than what it did before this first round of green flag pit stops. So, coming around to complete 41 of the scheduled 184 laps, it is Nathan Stapleton who leads the charge. Aaron Abel is in second, Quentin Moore third, Andrew Ramsey in fourth. Then it's Tanner Parton completing your top 5, followed by Andrew Miller in 6th, Jerry Rose in 7th, Alex Sandovatali 8th, Stephen Walker 9th, and Bobby McGuire rounding out your top 10. Let's see if that's 100% the case with the in-game ticker, and it is actually accurate. Stapleton leads by 2.5 seconds over Aaron Abel as of right now, who's riding pretty comfortably all by his lonesome. Then you get back over here to Quentin Moore, Ramsey, and Tanner Parton. They're all running pretty significantly strung out from one another, but pretty close. And then you get back here to Jerry Rose, which actually I'm impressed to see that Jerry Rose played his cards right to get himself the track position that he felt he needed, or that he definitely needed if he wanted a good run here tonight. And he moves himself inside of the top 10, running in 7th. Meanwhile, how about Bobby McGuire also in this position? But he's getting contested for that 10th spot by Kyle Craven in the 28. And how about Russell Blaze and Wyatt Walker? Both of those drivers didn't fall too far back. They may have lost a few positions, but still hanging pretty close inside of the top 10, running 12th and 13th respectfully. And also a good run for Janiah Hill in the 7. Definitely a really good rebound after this first round of green flag pit stops. And that's what put her in the 14th position. Unfortunately, though, for Ryan Davis, after pretty much hanging out at the front of the field in the opening stages of the event, unfortunately, he now finds himself 15th. But now going for the 14th position here on Janiah Hill. He's going to get it across the stripe, and here comes Russell Blaze to the inside. This is to try to steal away that 11th position. Did not get a good run, though, through turns 1 and 2. He's going to clip the apron one more time. And how about Kyle Craven, though, in this 28? Absolutely on the move as he basically advances up into the 8th position. And behind them, Bobby McGuire making a run here on Stephen Walker. This is to try to move his way up back into the top 10. Then it looks like Walker's going to be able to get that advantage coming out of turn number 2. And Kyle Craven, look at this. He's currently got the fastest lap of the race right now. I might have just hit the wrong button here. If that's the case, I did. I do apologize for that. I just hit the wrong button. But Kyle Craven, currently with the fastest lap of the race, a 27.540. Actually doing a very nice job here in the 7th position as he just took it away. Actually from Jerry Rose. But, man, things are definitely getting pretty interesting. How about Russell Blaze here in this 29 going after one of his cars of Stephen Walker to try to get himself back into the top 10. And he does that pretty successfully. Gets around Stephen Walker. But I think Walker might be able to answer back with a move of his own. And Bobby McGuire is actually going to beat him to the punch coming off of turn number 4. They're going to be side by side for that 11th position. But don't look now, Ryan Davis in that 77. Remember, he got relegated quite a ways back after that first round of green flag pit stops, and he is looking to try to make his way back to the front of the field. Another driver that would definitely love to do that is Wyatt Walker in this 19. He fell a little ways back, and now he takes it downstairs on Ryan Davis for that looks to be that 14th position, or the 13th spot rather. And so far he draws it dead even going through turn 2, but it'll be Davis with a great run off of the second corner. And Walker will have to slot back in that 14th spot for now. But nonetheless, Avery Alford has anything to say about it as he goes downstairs on Wyatt Walker to try to take over that 14th position. How about that? He'll actually clear Walker for that 14th spot. Meanwhile, show you exactly what's going on over here at the front of the field. Pretty much things are looking pretty similar as to what they were, at the conclusion of the first stint of green flag pit stops. See, Andrew Ramsey's still sitting pretty comfortably in third. Then you have Moore, Miller, and Tanner Parton getting a little bit more bunched up together, but Aaron Abel in this 43, he has now cut the lead down to just slightly under 1 second on Nathan Stapleton here in this 97 machine. So far, Stapleton doing a very good job here in this Southern 500. For those that are just now tuning in, we are currently... We just concluded our first round of green flag pit stops. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but Nathan Stapleton here in this 97 has been leading the charge for quite a while now, and he managed to take the lead away from Ryan Davis early in the going, at least halfway through the first, halfway before the first round of green flag pit stops. I can't say it for some reason, but this is where he has been ever since then. Aaron Abel, who is looking for his third win of the NOS Energy Cup Series campaign, the second of his career. He currently is in second, and now he's just chopped the lead down to 0.7 of a second. Then in third, in the third position, you also have Andrew Ramsey. Quentin Moore running in fourth, Miller in fifth, Parton sixth, Craven in seventh. Then in eighth is Jerry Rose. Russell Blaze just moved up into the ninth position, and Alex Sanvitali rounding out your top 10. So with that said here, .4 of a second now between the 97 and the 43. Do want to assure everybody that there were no problems with the ticker. I just forgot to put the ticker back up after I had a little bit of a mishap with the buttons. But focusing back in, .4 of a second now turns into 1/3 of a second. Aaron Abel is on the move as he pulls up just a little bit more, shrinks that gap down to almost 1/4 of a second. But Aaron Abel really running down Nathan Stapleton in this 97. And I think we might have ourselves a change for the lead. To rephrase here, we might have a lead change here. I would definitely say heading into turn number 3 is when Aaron Abel's going to make his move on Nathan Stapleton. Heading down into turn number 3. And there goes the 43 of Aaron Abel to the inside of Nathan Stapleton for the top spot. And give it to Abel across the stripe, heading back down into turn 1. Buries the car into the corner and is going to clear Nathan Stapleton. New race leader, it's Aaron Abel in the 43. See if Stapleton's going to perform a crossover move. It's not quite close enough there, but now Abel starting to drive away from Nathan Stapleton. Meanwhile, you got Andrew Ramsey, who's now cut the gap down to at least 9/10 of a second between second and third. And here comes Andrew Miller to the inside of Quentin Moore. Thought they were going to keep it even down the back straightaway. Not going to be the case there, as Moore retains that 4th position. But Miller's going to try it again. Heading through turn number 4. He'll have it across the stripe, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to keep it. Coming out of turn number 2, we'll see right here if he will, and that's going to be the case. At least for now. And here comes Moore. Fighting back on the outside. But I think this is where Andrew Miller is going to take that 4th position away. That bottom lane has just been oh so good, especially what we saw. Especially that's the thing that we saw in last night's Xfinity Series race. You know, the Cup drivers have definitely been taking some really good notes, and especially for those that were a part of last night's Cup race. And they are definitely putting them to good use. Russell Blaze right now running in 8th. His old ride right behind him. Jerry Rose up in 10th. And here comes our defending winner from last year, Rogel Dorn in the 86. Looking to try to win back-to-back Southern 500s as he takes it downstairs on Jerry Rose. And how about this? All 3 Durrani Racing cars inside of the top 10 coming around to complete 64 of the scheduled 184 laps here tonight. And how about this for Russell Blaze? You know, this has definitely got to be a pretty interesting dilemma. Your old ride is right behind you, and right behind San Vitale is Russell Blaze's former teammate in Rogel Dorn. So it's actually kind of an interesting deal that's kind of developing here, because it's like, well, what do you do? Because out of nature, it could be just they'd be like, hey, well, that's my old team. Maybe I should give him a little bit of respect. But then again, Russell Blaze is in conversation for the championship, because remember, he is still running top 5 in the point standings, and he definitely may have a shot. Probably may have a little bit more of a legitimate shot than what he did last year in terms of, you know, possibly scoring some wins, because remember, there were several races last year where Blaze should have won, and that's kind of a similar case for this year. There's a lot more races that Blaze should have won this year compared to last year. And speaking of races that should have been won by specific drivers, Andrew Ramsey in the 67, he's had several races robbed from him throughout the year, and he's trying to make sure that this one doesn't get robbed from him. Down to the inside he goes on Aaron Abel for the race lead. And new race leader, it's Andrew Ramsey here in the 67. Stapleton falling into the clutches of one of his other cars, of Andrew Miller in this 96. We'll see if Miller is going to take it downstairs. Oh, nope, he goes up high as Stapleton runs the bottom. But I think this is going to give a really good corner exit speed. It fires off, Miller does, and now he goes to the inside of his boss, of Nathan Stapleton. And we want to remind everybody, as Kyle Craven now runs around the outside. of Andrew Miller for that 4th position. We want to remind everybody that so far we know that, oh my goodness, hold the phone for a minute. Nathan Stapleton did not have a good turns 3 and 4, and that's what's going to allow Kyle Craven to take advantage, and he'll move up into the podium position. How about this for Kyle Craven in the 28? He's had an abysmal year this year, and he, at the tail end of the season, is really starting to come to life. And so far, he just absolutely blasted right around Nathan Stapleton. I'm pretty sure he might have used up any sort of grip, or at least whatever was left of the tires, but we do know that pit stop should be coming up here pretty soon. But we have to remind everybody, in terms of the future of NS Racing, we know that that team is returning next year. We know Stapleton is coming back as a driver. However, everything else about the team has still yet to be determined. We don't know if Andrew Miller or Zachary Fitzwater or even Noah Clifton are returning. We don't even know if the same numbers are going to be returning for the team. We don't even know if the sponsors are coming back as well. So there's so much that is yet to be uncovered here before the season is done and over with, and especially throughout the off season. So it's definitely going to be pretty interesting to see what the future holds for NS Racing in terms of their driver lineup and their number lineup as well. And speaking of Nathan Stapleton and NS Racing, Stapleton is once again the first driver to come on down pit lane. Meanwhile, up front, Craven taken into the inside of Aaron Abel for the 2nd position. They're still double file down the back straightaway. See if there's anybody else that's going to be making the move. Looks like Quentin Moore is going to be surrendering his position to come on down into pit lane. See if there's a couple more. Stephen Walker is now in. See if there's anybody else that is yet to come on down. I've only seen those 2. So from the looks of things, I do believe pit stops are going to be looking a little bit more diverse, a little bit more sort of strung out. So we'll definitely see some drivers trying to stretch out the fuel and maybe the durability of the tires just a little bit longer. Kyle Craven, our defending NOS Energy Cup Series champion, stays out, while Ramsey and as well as I can't remember who that was that came on in. That was Aaron Abel in the 43. Zachary Fitzwater, Alex Bonsignor, and Sebastian Vaughn, they pit in, along with Liam Davis. Jerry Rose, just about done with service on his car. Walker and as well as Sam Vitale, they come in. And up front, it looks like Kyle Craven. I think Craven is staying out another lap, is he? Yes, he is. Craven is staying out another lap. Well, most of the field elects to pit. But now Kyle Craven in this 28, he did lead a couple of laps, and now he is going to surrender the lead and head on down to pit lane. And meanwhile, Avery Alford in this 23 machine, he does stay out, and he will lead the way here at Darlington. Trying to get back with Avery Alford here. There he is. Michael DeFeo. I do believe he is the next car with Avery Alford that is yet to pit. And Terry Walker, I believe, is already making his way back out on the racetrack, or he probably already did. But there's definitely going to be a lot of jostling around on the leaderboard as far in terms of the positions. But Alford, DeFeo, they make their way down into the pits. And Nathan Stapleton, who was the first driver to come on down, he does cycle back around to get back on the lead lap. We're going to give it at least a couple of laps before we go over your top 10 running order after the second round of green flag pit stops. One thing that's definitely pretty surprising if I may say, is that we have not had a caution flag here tonight. We have gone 77 laps without a yellow, which has honestly been very impressive. Now Avery Alford getting service done, or at least completing it. So he'll be heading back out onto the racetrack here momentarily. So now, as the field cycles, we're gonna refresh the ticker one more time, or at least we're gonna do it twice. And then we'll refresh it one more time before we officially go over your official top 10 running order. Stapleton crosses the stripe here. Let's do it one more time just to be on the safe side. I think this probably is it right here. It's probably going to be pretty accurate. We'll take a look at the in-game ticker in terms of the top 10 just to make sure before, well, just after we go over what we currently see here on this ticker. So, at this moment, your race leader, once again, is Nathan Stapleton in the 97. Quentin Moore now runs in second. Andrew Ramsey is third. Tanner Parton in fourth. Completing your top 5 is Aaron Abel. Stephen Walker is in sixth. Rogel Dorn is in 7th. In 8th is Jerry Rose, or in 8th is Rogel, 7th is Andrew Miller. 8th is Rogel Dorn. 9th, Jerry Rose. And Kyle Craven rounds out your top 10. So make sure that this is 100% accurate, and it is actually. So we're 100% good to go. And Stapleton currently has a 2.7 second gap over Quentin Moore. It's almost turned into a 3-second advantage. But Quentin Moore now starting to chew into that lead. He got about a half a second there. But things are definitely getting pretty interesting here as we are 10 laps away from the halfway mark in the Southern 500 here at Darlington. Ramsey right there in the third position. 0.2 of a second back, and then you got Tanner Parton and Aaron Abel. Looks like they might potentially duke it out. But speaking of duking it out, back here you got Rogel Dorn taking it downstairs on the 24 of Stephen Walker, looking to try to get 2 birds with 1 stone here as he goes to the inside of Andrew Miller for that 6th position. And he's not going to quite get it here as Miller beats the 86 of Dorn back to the gas. And Stephen Walker makes way for the 86 of Rogel Dorn. Still pretty impressed tonight with Jerry Rose in the 00 team for Lightstar Racing Co. We talked about all 3 of the Durrani Racing cars. At one point, they were inside of the top 10. Well, currently at this particular stage, Lightstar Racing Co., currently both cars are inside of the top 10. Obviously, Andrew Ramsey contesting with Quentin Moore for that runner-up spot. And then you have the 00 of Jerry Rose currently in 9th, but he's got a huge mirrorful of Kyle Craven in this 28. Who knows that pretty much he's not going to be returning to this car after this year. So he knows he's definitely got nothing to lose at all. So he's just going to go out and make the best of these final 6 races of the season. As he goes to the inside of Jerry Rose for that 9th position. And he will take it away heading into turn 1. Take a look further in the back of the field. You got Travis Crampton and Wyatt Walker. They're duking it out. What looks to be for that 13th position, if I may say. Travis Crampton now takes it away. Here comes Bobby McGuire to the inside of Abby Walker. And Walker looking to try to put a crossover on the 18 of McGuire. as they head back down into turn number 1. 4 cars under a blanket here, with obviously McGuire getting the better run off of turn number 2. But you have the Walker siblings of Abby and Wyatt in this sandwich. And then you have Travis Crampton in the 61. We're going to try to make something happen here. How about this? Also a great run tonight, I believe, for Claire Phillips in the number 5. Remember, she started 30th in this race, and after this second stint of green flag pit stops, she has found herself, I want to say, 15th as of this current moment. Take a look here on this next page, and that is the case. So she has picked up 15 positions within the last 89 laps, coming around to complete 90 this time by, with Nathan Stapleton still leading the charge. But things have definitely been looking pretty impressive, though, for Claire Phillips in the later stages of this event and of this season. And her sophomore campaign, although it kind of has been looking identical to her rookie season, she definitely has done a little bit better. Obviously, top 20 in the point standings, unlike what we saw last year with Phillips finishing outside of the top 30 in points last year. But for this year, you know, obviously Phillips in that 5 camp have definitely been on a tear. Ryan Little, however, in this number 27, is in desperate need of a great run in these final 6 races outside of the top 30 for Vision Motorsports number 27. So this has not been a great year for that driver in camp in their sophomore campaign. But Ryan Little, though, I am confident, though, that he is able to get the job done. So far, running inside of the top 15. Now going after Wyatt Walker for that 14th position. Heading back down into turn 1. As meanwhile, let's focus up at the front of the field. Andrew Ramsey in that 67. Starting to reel in Nathan Stapleton. And not too far behind is Quentin Moore in the 04. Aaron Abel, Tanner Parton fighting it out for that 4th position. Still double file heading down into turn number 1. Looks like Parton going to be able to get the nod here. But it's going to be Abel with the run off of corner exit in turn number 2. But Parton fighting back on the outside. And Abel officially is going to be able to clear that 07 for that 4th position. As up front, it is essentially turned into a 3-horse fight for the top position as they come off of turn number 4. And Ramsey all over the back bumper of the 97 of Nathan Stapleton. Just past the halfway mark, 89 laps to go in the Southern 500. We're definitely going to see a move coming in turn number 3 here for Andrew Ramsey, as he's going to drive it downstairs on the 97 of Nathan Stapleton. Here he comes. Andrew Ramsey to the lead here in the Southern 500 at Darlington. But you got Nathan Stapleton in the 97. He is not going to give up just yet. But in the meantime, I think he's going to have to let Ramsey go here as he falls back to the 2nd position. Here comes Quentin Moore. Down to the inside of Stapleton. That's for the runner-up spot. And how about this for 3 cars duking it out here for the top position? Ramsey now starting to drive away from the Ford duo of Moore and Stapleton. And as I mentioned, Nathan Stapleton is in a really good position to have a great run here tonight, because remember, he comes into this race 27th in the point standings, and he led a good portion of this event as well for a little while, especially after the first and second rounds of green flag pit stops. And that's what got him out to a really huge margin over the rest of the field for an X amount of laps. So for Stapleton, I definitely say that this has been a great run here tonight out of the 97 camp. Andrew Miller, of course, doing what he's always done best all year. Provide that consistency, provide those results, especially when it comes to the championship, because NS Racing, even if the other three drivers are not up there in the conversation, the only one that has been putting up those results is Andrew Miller in this car right here. Another driver that is definitely looking to put together those results is Kyle Craven in this 28. As he moves up into that 5th position, now takes 4th away for a split moment. Heading into turn 1, it looks like Craven going to try to be able to clear the 96. He does for a moment. And now moves up in front of Miller for that 4th position. Now Andrew Miller looking to try to make something happen, putting the crossover on that 28 of Kyle Craven, who continues to run that high side off of turn number 2. And now Craven going to do what he can to set his sights on the leaders of Ramsey, Moore, and Stapleton. And maybe see if he can try to go after this race win here at the Darlington Raceway in the Southern 500. Our 18th race of the season here for the NOS Energy Cup Series. For those that are just now tuning in, we are less than 100 laps away from the checkered flag falling. It has been an absolutely fantastic race, and surprisingly enough, we had gone caution free. And Andrew Ramsey right now is currently your race leader. And Kyle Craven is the man on the move. Not only does he have the fastest lap of the race, but he definitely has probably one of the strongest cars of the night as he powers around Nathan Stapleton for that 3rd position. Now getting ready to set his sights on the lead. But he's got to get by Quentin Moore first. I definitely think that this 28 is going to drive it down to the inside. He's going to bury the car into the corner. And here comes Kyle Craven for that runner-up spot, and going to get 2 birds with 1 stone as he takes the lead across the stripe. And looks like he's going to clear the 67 of Andrew Ramsey for the lead. New race leader, it's Kyle Craven in the 28. Absolutely spectacular action that we're seeing here with 79 laps of racing to go in the Southern 500 here at Darlington. Almost a 1/3 of a second that is now being put down between Craven and Ramsey. Meanwhile, you might have just seen a little glimpse of it in the background. Andrew Miller did take away that 4th position from his boss of Nathan Stapleton. So those tires, I mean, of course, being the first on and off of pit road out of all the other 41 contenders may be somewhat of an advantage for Nathan Stapleton in terms of getting a sizable lead, but it definitely comes with a price. And looks like he's going to lose a few more positions back there as Rogel Doran is all over the back bumper of that 97. But Andrew Miller trying to go around Andrew Ramsey for the runner-up position as they come through turn number 4. Give that runner-up spot to Miller across the stripe. But can he officially take it? Heading back into turn number 1. Looks like he will actually clear. That's 67 of Andrew Ramsey. Coming around to complete. Well, coming around to take 76 laps to go. And Craven right now has a 2/3 of a second advantage over Andrew Miller and Andrew Ramsey. Ramsey tried to take on that 96 of Miller for that runner-up position. But Miller gets a great run and manages to pull away from Andrew Ramsey. Well, meanwhile, Nathan Stapleton coming on into pit with now 75 laps of racing to go here in Darlington. He is the first car to pit once again. But Kyle Craven in this 28 continues to lead the way. And looks like he is going to be staying out. Quentin Moore bringing his car to the inside, and he will be pitting from that top 10 position that he was currently running in. See if there's going to be any other takers with him. I think it might be the same ones. Or will it? So far, he is the only one this time around that has come down to make a pit stop. Looks like Ramsey, Abel, and Tanner Parton. These three contenders will be making their stop. Jerry Rose pits in, as will Wyatt Walker in the 19. And see if there's any other ones. Liam Davis, Vaughn, Bonsignor, they all pit in this time around. So we'll see if race leader Kyle Craven will be electing to make the run down into the pits. He will not. He's going to stay out another lap. Well, second place, Andrew Miller is going to come on down to pit lane. Looks like in the background, Abby Walker, Crampton, McGuire, Stephen Walker. I see Claire Phillips in the mix as I do with Alex Sanvitali and several others. Zachary Fitzwater is in along with Skylar Taylor. And how about this? Craven's going to stay out another lap. So I think that might be a pretty decent strategy for Kyle Craven as well, because although I do applaud Nathan Stapleton for being the first one to pit, it does give him a pretty good margin, at least temporarily, over the rest of the field. But I gotta also applaud Kyle Craven as well, because he is amongst some of the later groups of cars to pit. So that gives him an advantage in terms of how old his tires are going to be compared to everybody else around him. Kyle Craven now pits from the lead. And it looks like Aaron Abel in the 23, he's going to stay out and he'll inherit the top spot here at Darlington with 70 laps of racing to go. Looks like Alfred now is going to make his trip down into the pits. And Michael DeFeo in this 60 car, he's going to stay out. And I believe DeFeo is going to be the last driver that will have to come on down to make his pit stop. But I would have to believe that Nathan Stapleton will re-inherit the top spot. He's all over the back bumper of the 60 of DeFeo, but you also got Quentin Moore in the mix there. As now DeFeo pits in. And if this is the case, Nathan Stapleton may not have as big of a gap as he once did in the last two pit stops that we had seen. So this will definitely be an interesting sight to behold here, if this is 100% the case. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh the ticker just to be 100% sure. DeFeo Looks like he's making his way back out on the racetrack right now as we currently speak. So up front, more than likely, what will be the fight for the lead right here. It's going to be between Nathan Stapleton and Quentin Moore. More than likely, let's see what happens here. So far, Stapleton and Moore showing at the top of the board. But you also got Tanner Parton in that 07 up there. He's a lot closer to this fight for the top position as they come off of turn number 4. Your top 10 now officially looks like this. Stapleton the leader, but not by the margin that we saw him have the last 2 green flag pit stops. At the conclusion of both of those green flag pit stops, the first 2, Quentin Moore runs in second. Then you got Tanner Parton sitting in third, Ramsey 4th. Andrew Miller rounds out your top 5. And then in the 6th position, you got Jerry Rose, Aaron Abel in 7th, Rogel Dorn in 8th, Abby Walker now in 9th, and Travis Crampton rounds out your top 10. 65 laps to go in the Southern 500 here at Darlington. Oh, Quentin Moore is right there, all over the back bumper of Nathan Stapleton. And if he wants this race lead, he's going to have to make that move right now. He's peeking the nose to the inside, but can't quite make that move. Can't quite make that pass just yet. The move's going to have to come from here for Quentin Moore, unless if Tanner Parton beats him to the punch, and looks like that's going to be the case as Moore moves up high. Here comes Tanner Parton to the inside to take over the 2nd position, and he could try to go for this race lead on Nathan Stapleton heading back into turn 1. But not going to be the case as Stapleton now starts to drive away from both Parton and as well as Quentin Moore. This has also allowed the 67 of Andrew Ramsey to pull himself into the mix. And now he's going to go after the 04 of Moore for 3rd. And Tanner Parton just put a block there on the 67 of Andrew Ramsey, and almost could have went for that top spot on Nathan Stapleton, but Stapleton yet again with a great run off of turn number 2. He's been doing an absolutely fantastic job, the Stapleton has, and you also got, and again, Tanner Parton also coming to life here in the later stages of this Southern 500. He's been doing a very great job here, just staying on this back bumper. Heading back into turn number 3. Let's see if Parton's going to make a move. Nope, he goes up high. And that almost opened up the door for Andrew Ramsey. But Parton got a really good corner exit off of turn number 4. He got a lot of momentum coming off of 4, and he's going to use it to take it to the inside. If I can actually try to talk without stuttering today, Junior. But Parton not able to make that run work. Looks like he's going to try it again here, but now you have Andrew Ramsey taking a look down low. So that's going to hinder the plans that Parton just had to use that same run that he had coming off of 4 to try to take that top spot away from Nathan Stapleton. But now Ramsey holding on to try to take that 2nd position away. He's edged ahead down the back straightaway, and now he's going to try to get 2 birds with 1 stone here. Here comes Andrew Ramsey on Nathan Stapleton for the race lead. 58 laps to go in the Southern 500. Meanwhile, Andrew Miller now going after Tanner Parton for the 3rd position. And how about Rogel Dorn in this 86 machine, who had been picking his way through the field via pit cycles and pit stops, basically one by one, And he had slowly and methodically picked his way through the field in the long green flag runs, and especially during the pit stops. And now he finds himself inside of the top 5 and is in position and could be en route to win. Oh, wait, Quentin Moore's in the wall. Moore just absolutely scraping the outside wall, and he got into Aaron Abel there. That was close. That could have been a disaster coming off of turn number 2, but that just hurt the performance on the 04 of Quentin Moore as he fell outside of the top 5, now down into the 8th position. But his teammate, however, Rogel Dorn, as we were about to mention, could be en route of his 2nd straight win here at Darlington. Remember, he won last year. He could very well do it again this year. Down to the inside he goes on Tanner Parton. He takes that 4th position away, and now he's going to try to go for 3rd on Stapleton, heading back into turn 1. And he's going to get it pretty easily here. He'll definitely start pulling away from the 97 of Nathan Stapleton. Well, up front, it's the Andrew and Andrew show with Ramsey and Miller. Possibly get ready to duke it out. Meanwhile, Nathan Stapleton once again under attack from Tanner Parton. And further in the back, Quentin Moore may lose that 8th position here shortly to the 16 of Abby Walker. Remember, Walker started just outside of the top 25, and she also had been picking her way through the field, and it's been an absolutely great run, if I may say, for the 16 team of Abby Walker. Now here comes that 28 of Kyle Craven back up into the 10th position, trying to replicate the same drive that Campbell Marsh did, his former teammate Campbell Marsh did just last night. And so far, Craven now up into the 10th position. Gonna try to, I thought he was gonna try to send it down on Abby Walker, but Walker now taking it downstairs on Quentin Moore. She'll have that 8th position. Aaron Abel also trying to get to the inside of Jerry Rose for the 6th position. But Moore trying to fight back on the outside. And Moore's going to have it. So now this will give a good opportunity for Kyle Craven to maybe peek the nose down low. Actually, not the case here as he loses a little bit of ground. But maybe he's going to try it here on Quentin Moore, while Abby Walker goes after Abel for that 7th position. So this 16 machine putting together some really good results here and doing a very nice job. Meanwhile, and we obviously missed the fight for the lead here as Rogel Dorn, you definitely saw it on the ticker, Rogel Dorn just took the race lead away from the 2 Andrews of Miller and Ramsey, who are now duking it out here for the runner-up spot. Ramsey is going to lose it here to Andrew Miller coming out of turn number 2. But not for much longer. Ramsey now fighting back on the outside. And now Miller is going to have the advantage coming through turn number 4. He'll sail it into turns 3 and 4, and he'll take that runner-up spot right back. Now going to try to set his sights on Rogel Dorn, who's trying to win back-to-back Southern 500s. And also trying to get his 2nd win of the NOS Energy Cup Series season. 48 laps to go this time by. We'll definitely see one more set of green flag pit stops here shortly. Should be coming in with around 35 laps to go, or at least somewhere right around that point. Just gonna have to wait and see exactly what happens here as Kyle Craven goes around Stapleton on the outside for the 7th position. Now he takes it downstairs on Jerry Rose. And they're 3 wide back over here. Definitely pretty interesting racing here between Little and Crampton and Quentin Moore as well. And how about this for Ryan Little? Another driver that is in dire need of a great night here tonight. So far, he's getting it as he moves up inside of the top 10. Trailing behind Nathan Stapleton. And now there goes the 27 of Little to the inside. That's to take over 9th. Now trying to go for 8th on Aaron Abel. Meanwhile, Jerry Rose trying to take that 6th position away from Abby Walker, but Walker's going to have none of that. And Kyle Craven now moves up inside of the top 5, coming to 45 laps to go here in the Southern 500 at Darlington. Now here comes Andrew Ramsey back downstairs on Andrew Miller for the runner-up spot. Didn't have a great run there. That might also open up the door for Tanner Parton to make something happen. Heading down into turn 3. Maybe not here. We probably might see a move come on the front straightaway from Tanner Parton. Oh, he's not close enough, though. Tanner Parton's not close enough to try to make a move for that podium position that Ramsey is currently in possession of. But another driver that definitely is going to have a great opportunity at that is Kyle Craven. Remember, he's one of those drivers that definitely had made his pit stops a little bit later than everybody else. Although it may cost him some track position, it does benefit in the long run, as we have seen all night long out of this 28 camp. And Craven definitely looking to try to turn the tides back into his favor and maybe see about going to victory lane here in the Southern 500, as here he comes trying to get around the outside of the 07 of Tanner Parton, who tried to take the 3rd position away from Andrew Ramsey. But now Craven goes up high, maybe trying to get that great corner exit speed. Now he fires it off to the inside. Not going to be able to have the run there going into turn 1. But he stays right with the 07 of Parton. Or at least is attempting to stay in the tire tracks of Tanner Parton. Speaking of Parton, there he goes to the inside, or at least he's going to try it again. And he's back into turn 1. Not going to quite be able to make that run stick here, but that may open up the door for Kyle Craven to make something happen here. Heading down the back straightaway. Down into turn number 3 potentially. He kind of moves up high a little bit. Let's see if he tries to make a run happen on the outside. He's peeking the nose up high. Parton kind of ran the middle down the front straightaway. But Craven definitely stays glued to the back bumper of the 07 of Parton. Meanwhile, Abby Walker in that 16 really starting to reel in Craven and Parton. And now finally Kyle Craven makes a run to the inside for that 4th position. Just got to cycle through the field real fast to see if anybody possibly may have come down and pit. So far, Nathan Stapleton, who normally would be the first one to pit, he has not made his stop yet. I would definitely have to expect it to happen, maybe right around 35-ish laps to go, as I mentioned. And now here comes Craven to the inside for 3rd on Andrew Ramsey. Meanwhile, the Vision Motorsports teammates, they're duking it out here for this 5th spot, as Ryan Little takes it to the inside of his teammate of Tanner Parton. Parton has had himself a strong season this year, unlike Ryan Little, who has found himself on the other side of the points bracket, but looks like the pendulum might be swinging back the other way into the favor of Ryan Little, and even as well as Kyle Craven as he takes over second. And Nathan Stapleton, I believe, has officially made his way into the pits to begin our final round of green flag pit stops. I saw another car in the pit lane. That is Quentin Moore in the 04. Liam Davis is also in. And now there goes Andrew Miller, as well as the 67 of Andrew Ramsey. They are in. Our final round of green flag pit stops officially underway with 37 to go. Dorn looks like he's going to be making his way into the pits. Kyle Craven's going to stay out along with Ryan Little. But his teammate Tanner Parton pits in along with Abby Walker, Bobby McGuire, Aaron Abel, Travis Crampton, as well as one other driver, Walker. San Vitale is in, as well as Sebastian Vaughn. Skylar Taylor going to be making his way into the pits. Or their way into the pits, excuse me. Craven and Little stay out for just a little bit longer. I think Ryan Little might have caught on to the strategy that Kyle Craven is currently on right now, just by staying out a few extra laps and trying to make something happen, trying to make the tires go to distance, trying to make the fuel last. That probably might be the key to winning this race. So that's another thing that we'll have to find out as well, is that some drivers, although they did pit coming to 37 laps to go, there might be a chance that some drivers may not have been able to pack their cars up with fuel to go to distance. As you see Moscow, Janiah Hill come on in along with one other driver. That was Zachary Taylor. Now CG Hall pits in with Mercedes Davis and Ray Atikian. And I do believe that might be all the cars, with the exception of DeFeo, Alford, Silver, and Trinity Anderson. Russell Blaze is going to surrender the 5th position to come on down to pit lane. Well, a little bit of 3-wide action over here. Remember Ryan Davis? I think Davis is another driver that is yet to make his pit stop. That got a little treacherous with him in the midst of this. Let's see if there's anybody else that is yet to make their stops. I do believe, yep. Avery Alford pits in along with Trinity Anderson and Skep Silver. So Michael DeFeo once again is the last driver that is yet to make his pit stops. And there goes Nathan Stapleton in the 97. Going around Michael DeFeo. That's to get back on the lead lap. And now DeFeo is going to surrender the lead and that runner-up spot. And that basically Stapleton getting by Michael DeFeo there. That definitely was a pretty good saving grace in terms of trying to increase that gap that he currently has on Andrew Miller and as well as Rogel Dorn. It definitely makes things a little bit more interesting. But now, with 30 laps to go here in the Southern 500, we're gonna see what happens here as they cycle Michael DeFeo out of the top 10. We're gonna refresh the ticker by the time that they cross the start-finish line here to give you a good gauge as to what the top 10 is gonna look like as they're getting ready to race all the way to the checkered flag. Here comes Andrew Miller to the inside of Nathan Stapleton. This looks like this will be for the lead. We'll see if that's going to be the case. We'll refresh the ticker one more time, but we're pretty sure Then Andrew Miller just stole away the top spot from his boss of Nathan Stapleton. That we can be pretty confident of. And here comes Rogel Dorn to the inside, followed by Tanner Parton. Let's refresh the ticker one more time as the fight for the lead is getting pretty interesting. Here comes the 86 of Rogel Dorn down to the inside. And that is going to be for the top spot. Rogel Dorn to the point, coming to 27 laps of racing to go here in the Southern 500. So as they come across the stripe this time by, we're gonna refresh that one more time. Is that really accurate? That is not accurate at all. There we go. So now, with 26 laps of racing to go, we know that Rogel Dorn is currently your race leader. But as they come across the start-finish line this time by, you're going to have Andrew Miller running in second. A fight for third is breaking out here between Tanner Parton and Abby Walker. Looks like Walker with the advantage, but not for much longer. Here comes Tanner Parton off of turn number 2 with a great run. So he will be in third. Abby Walker fourth. Then in fifth is Jerry Rose. Nathan Stapleton falls to 6th. Andrew Ramsey in 7th. Kyle Craven, who probably has the best car of the whole field, he's in 8th. Bobby McGuire 9th. And Travis Crampton rounds out your top 10. 25 laps to go in the Southern 500 here at Darlington. Rogel Dorn just trying to drive away from Andrew Miller, but Miller is not letting him get away easily. Meanwhile, Abby Walker still trying to fight for that third position on that 07 of Tanner Parton. You also have Jerry Rose in the mix in that 00. Hanging on to a 5th place result as of right now. Now here comes Andrew Ramsey to the inside of the 97 of Stapleton. 23 to go. Now Ramsey is going to get by Stapleton. That also will open up the door potentially for Kyle Craven to make a run on this 97, so long as Bobby McGuire does not pounce first. And that's going to be the case. Here comes Kyle Craven to the inside of Nathan Stapleton. And now Andrew Ramsey in the process getting 2 birds with 1 stone. And he'll easily clear the 67 of Ramsey heading into turn number 1. And this car is coming to life. Absolutely doing a fantastic job here in the late stages of the Southern 500, coming to 21 laps to go. Abby Walker once again trying it on Tanner Parton for that third position. Going to be able to get it maybe heading into through turns 3 and 4, because that is where the run has been. The runs have been all night long on the inside through turns 1 and 2, and especially in the top through 3 and 3 and 4 rather. And for the most part, the top in turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Abby Walker and Andrew Miller once again now fighting it out for the second spot. But Miller is going to be the beneficiary in that fight. Walker runs high. Now here comes Kyle Craven in the 28 to the inside. This is for the 4th position, as Abby Walker now fights it out with the 96 of Miller. But don't look, now you got Kyle Craven in the 28. Looking to try to make something happen here as he moves up to 4th Now he's going to take it downstairs on Abby Walker for that third position. Move the 28 up into third. And now he's going to take a look to the inside for second, heading into turn number 1. He clips the apron just a little bit there, but I don't think the speed is going to be hindered whatsoever. Remember, he has fresher tires compared to everyone else on the field. He pitted a little bit later than everyone else, and even so, this car has been absolutely bat fast all night long. 17 laps to go. Kyle Craven trying to break what has been, what has felt like a very long and lengthy winless streak. Get your brains out of the gutter, by the way. But in the meantime, Kyle Craven, he moves up high here. Miller gives him the top, and he's going to take it. Look at this! Kyle Craven just absolutely accepted the invitation to run the top on corner exit. Kyle Craven is on a move. And now he has one car left to pass. The guy who's looking to try to go back-to-back in the Southern 500. That is Rogel Dorn in this 86. And also trying to nab his second win of the season. But Craven is going to answer back with a run to the inside. He wasn't able to make it happen down there. But he's probably going to have to make this happen heading through turns 3 and 4. But Dorn trying to maintain his lead. So far, it is about a third of a second advantage. Coming to 14 laps to go. Lots of jostling around for position here as Abby Walker now tries to keep that third spot away from Tanner Parton while he and Miller fight it out side by side for fourth. But Craven, though, has caught that 86 of Rogel Dorn once again. He moves up high. And I think he's going to try what he just did there again. But this time, Dorn slams the door. 13 laps to go. And here comes Craven again down to the inside. But this time, he's going to bury the car into the corner. And they're double file. They're dead even. But Dorn is going to beat that number 28 back to the gas. And Abby Walker looking to try to make an opening, see if she can make it 3 wide, but she is not close enough to make anything happen. New race leader, it's Kyle Craven in the 28, and now he's looking to pull away from Rogel Dorn with 12 laps to go. So far, it is a third of a second advantage. Now turning into 4/10. Between Dorn and Craven. Abby Walker taking it downstairs on Rogel Dorn for that runner-up spot. She has it across the stripe and maybe is going to try to clear that 86 heading into turn 1. But look at that. Rogel Dorn is going to beat Abby Walker back to the throttle. And that's what's going to allow him to keep that runner-up spot for just a little bit longer. But again, Abby Walker using that bottom line to her advantage. 10 fingers in the air, 10 laps of racing to go. Here in the Southern 500, Kyle Craven trying to snap his winless streak. And Abby Walker looking to try to go to victory lane for the second time here tonight. The second time of the season. And her first at Darlington. She's got to run down this 28 of Kyle Craven first in order to do it. And also try to fend off the challenge from Ryan Little. And that is definitely going to be a task at that. Now Little moves up into the runner-up spot. Could he potentially play spoiler to Kyle Craven's party? Remember, both Craven and Little are outside of the top 30 in the point standings. They need a great run like this. And as Craven starts to pull away by now at least 0.8 of a second, Little, and as well as the 16 of Abby Walker. I mean, this is a 3-horse fight for third at this point. But that 27 now starting to pull away from Dorn, Walker, and Parton. And tries to set his sights on this man right here, Kyle Craven, who is yet to go to victory lane in 2026. Had not seen the taste of victory since Phoenix in November of 2025. Or at least late October of 2025. That was when he was driving for All American Motorsports and Trey Wright's team, which hopefully we'll see American Motorsports make a return to the NOS Energy Cup Series next year. 6 to go. Little, so far, has been able to try to reel in that 28 of Craven. But just as 28 has just had a lot of great straightaway speed that has been able to allowing him to pull out to at least a 0.7 of a second advantage. But Ryan Little in this 27, just inching ever so closer, lap after lap, on the 28 of Kyle Craven. 4 laps to go. This time around, for the 28 machine of Kyle Craven, the only Death Rider racing car that has seen victory lane in the Cup Series was Russell Blaze. That happened at Talladega back in May of this year. And they had come close several times with Stephen Walker. They even came close with Joshua Neely just a few weeks back at Indianapolis. And Kyle Craven has come to life within the last couple of races, especially in the later stages of the season. We know he is going down to the Xfinity Series after what has been an absolutely abysmal performance throughout this Cup season, especially in his sophomore year after winning the championship in his rookie year last year with All American Motorsports. But coming to 2 laps of racing to go this time by, Kyle Craven may get probably one of the best wins that he had ever tasted. Probably one of the best victories he has ever gotten. 2 laps of racing to go. Craven still maintaining a 2/3 of a second gap on Ryan Little. Also want to give a big shout out to Claire Phillips. She had a great top 5 performance last week, finished 3rd at Kansas, now is en route to finish inside of the top 10. Bobby McGuire running in 7th. And then you got Jerry Rose, who had been hanging out inside of the top 10 all night long. White flag in the win. Final lap for Kyle Craven. Remember, Kyle Craven comes into this race outside of the top 30 in the point standings. He's had a few great performances here and there. Unfortunately, has just not had the results to back those up. But this win is going to be ever so special. Coming off of turn 4 for the final time. Finally, a winner in 2026. Kyle Craven wins the Southern 500 at Darlington. Ryan Little also nabbing a great performance himself. He finishes in the 2nd position. Abby Walker, a great performance for her. She comes home in 3rd. Rogel Dorn, another great run here tonight as he finishes in 4th. Tanner Parton rounds out your top 5. Claire Phillips finishes in the 6th position. In 7th will be Bobby McGuire. Aaron Abel will finish in 8th. Andrew Miller in 9th. And completing your top 10 is Jerry Rose. But the man of the hour is Kyle Craven. He snaps what is a pretty significant winless streak, if I may say. because it had been a long while, since we've seen Kyle Craven, and especially the number 28 in victory lane. But he's going to get the job done here in the Southern 500 at Darlington. And on top of that, he held on to the fastest lap of the race with a 27.540. But how about that for Kyle Craven? You take a look at the rest of your results as you see 31st on down to 40th. Not a great result for Russell Blaze, and especially our points leader of Eric Monaco. And things are definitely going to be getting a little bit more spicy when it comes to those point standings after tonight. Avery Alford looks like he finishes this race. I don't think I saw him. I don't think I got a good look of where he finished, but I have to believe, if I haven't seen him anywhere, I mean, maybe he might have finished inside of the top 20, because I don't see him in 31st through 40th. But regardless of that, let's see exactly where Alfred finished. He finished inside right now. I'm trying to see where he finished. I can't even find him anywhere. Looks like he finished 26th. There he is. Finished in the 26th position. We literally had to go around the block at least 3 times in order to see where Avery Alford finished, because remember, he came into this race runner-up in the point standings. And after tonight, things might change just a hair in the top 10 running order in the point standings. But regardless of that, what a great performance and what a race. What a weekend here at the Darlington Raceway. And big congratulations to Kyle Craven on getting the job done here at the Darlington Raceway. Thank you guys so much for watching all the races here from Darlington Raceway. If you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button and be sure to consider subscribing. If you're watching from the WRLA YouTube channel, as far as this premiere goes, keep an eye on the Discord for when those points do release. And if you're watching this live on Twitch, be sure to hit that follow button so you don't miss a future stream. But next time you'll see these NOS Energy Cup Series drivers, it's going to be out at the Hillside International Raceway. We'll be taking to that track for the first time ever on September 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Obviously, qualifying will be at 2 p.m. Eastern on that night, on September 19th, and the green flag will be waving at 7 p.m. right here on Twitch. But that's going to do it from here at the Darlington Raceway. I'm Elijah Leonard signing out. Have yourselves a fantastic rest of your weekend. Take care, stay safe, and we will see you all next time out at Hillside. This WRLA telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without any authorized written consent of 11 Broadcasting. WRLA would like to thank all of our loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.